together with Earle Sports Bets. Yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, it's R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
Are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Nicholas Earle. Just me today, as we have 10 games in the NHL, 10 games in the MLB, or NBA, not the MLB. MLB will be soon. We got spring training already started, so that's always fun there. But we get some NBA and NHL today. So, but before we get into that, we'll recap yesterday, which was a really strong day yesterday overall for me, up 7 units. So definitely can't complain there. College basketball, Furman minus 11.5 did not get the job done. They win by 4. Tennessee plus 2.5. They went outright. App State minus 3.5. They lose by 10 to Marshall. Liberty minus 12.5. I got it by the hook there. 13. They won by 13. I think the site got 13.5 or something along those lines. So one of those where the number does matter. Rhode Island plus 6.5 was a loser. And then Little Rock minus 10.5 was a winner. Nicholls State minus 5.5 winner. NIU plus 5.5 winner. Arkansas Pine Bluff plus 5.5. How about they went outright by double digits against Prairie View A&M? And then Georgia State plus 2.5 gets the job done to end the night. So a solid night in college hoops. And then in the NBA, finally got up to the black heading into yesterday's show, back down into the red, 0-2 as Philly loses outright. That was just a poor play by me. It is what it is. Denver comes up short on their team total over. They score 13 points in the fourth quarter. So it looks like they kind of gave up there in the fourth quarter. So that was kind of frustrating there. Their team total over does come up short. Hockey, though, was really strong yesterday. As I'm working my way towards the black for hockey, went from, I believe, 17 and change down to 12. So a big step in the right direction yesterday. Started off poorly. I had the Detroit Red Wings, who I believe had a 3-1 lead at one point. And then below that lead and losing overtime. I'm like, all right, cool. This is how hockey returns, is with that type of game. But after that was pretty much smooth sailing other than a couple spots. Washington -1. How about they win 8-3 over the Pittsburgh Penguins? I thought that was a great spot for Washington. That's not going to be a regular occurrence, me backing Washington. I think situationally that really worked. Same with Buffalo. How about that? Buffalo chases Igor, I believe, in the first period, 5-0 at the end of the first period. I've already doubled down on that Ranger game today. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. That was one of the games that I really circled, that both those teams really struggled yesterday. So I got 2 plays in that game. How about the Kraken? 2-1 over the Florida Panthers. That was a nice little win there, plus 190 there. Nashville plus 115 gets the job done against Colorado. I've already moved on the Avalanche as well. I've moved on 3 plays heading into the show. I doubled up on the Rangers-Penguins game, and I'm already on the Colorado Avalanche -1. So I got a couple spots I've already pulled the trigger on. Carolina -125 does not get there. But the Duckies do in overtime, plus 175 winner over the Boston Bruins. The Montreal Canadiens, Les Habitants, get the job done, 5-2 over the Ottawa Senators, plus 135 casher there. An overtime win for the Winnipeg Jets, 4-3. Get the over 5.5 or 6, depending on the number you got. Did end with a loss, though, at the end of the night with the Vancouver Canucks, plus 185. I believe it was 1-1 heading into the third period, and just the Vegas Golden Knights scored 2 goals at the end there. Happens. Took a shot with a bunch of dogs. A bunch of them hit. So overall, up 7 units yesterday. An awesome day. Looking to keep going today with that. Sometimes when there's really good days, you got to tread a little bit lightly the next day, because I've noticed whenever I have a monster day, the next day usually is not as good. So we'll see. Hopefully we can continue the winning streak there. But we'll head over to the chat, and then we will get into today's games. What's good, Nicholas Handy? B-Hawk saying, what's up, Earle? Suns flip to a favorite. I have Drake over 126 and Robert Morris -1. I'm trying to see. I believe we have 2 plays today. Yeah, two plays graded out for a play. It's Siena laying 12.5, and it's Quinnipiac getting 4. No, it's Manhattan getting 4. Manhattan +4 and Siena -12.5 are the 2 plays for college basketball today for us. So there's that. But we will get into basketball. We'll start in the NBA, and then we'll go to the NHL like we usually do. New York Knicks, Boston Celtics. The Celtics 9-point favorites, total 231.5. Taking a look at the line history here, line opened up 7.5. It's now a 9. So we do have a move towards the Boston Celtics. Line opened up 233. It's now down to 231.5. So we have a move towards the under here as well as a move towards the Celtics. 73% of the tickets and 78% of the cash is on the Celtics in this game. The line's moving towards them in this one. So the money is coming in on the Celtics, and the money's moving towards them there. 88% tickets, 87% of cash is on the over here as well. The Celtics are on 4 straight wins and covers. They've been looking better. We are seeing some 8.5s now too. And we have the New York Knicks. They're coming in off of a loss, which snapped their 3-game winning streak. They got blown out against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 142-105 in their last game. And one thing you got to keep in mind as well is these two teams just played a little while ago, on 15 days ago, February the 8th. It was a 27-point win for the Boston Celtics. We were on Boston in that game there. I believe I saw Tim put up a play. He is on the Knicks. Cool. I think the Knicks might be the play in this game. And I get the lines moved towards Boston, but the money's on them. That makes sense. And everybody just reacting what they just saw. Boston with a dominating win. The Knicks with a bad loss. And maybe this is Knicks early. I want to take a look what the first quarter's done, because maybe this is New York Knicks first quarter for them to get off to a good start, because I want to take a look real quick against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were down 41-29 at the end of the first quarter there. The lines moved 5 cents towards the Celtics in the first quarter, it looks like. And Boston, they've been a team where, I believe they're usually pretty decent in the first quarter, but they're coming in feeling good. New York Knicks, I'm assuming they're going to want to get off to a good start, and I'm getting +3, it looks like, with them in the first quarter. I think the Knicks first quarter might be a play that I want to shop around and try to find the best available number. I'm going to write that down because with some of my first quarter bets, I need to actually go through and look. So maybe New York Knicks first quarter. It's worth a look in this game. That would be my lean in this spot, would be New York early to cover the number. But not anything I'm getting involved with right off the rip here in this one. We'll move on. Another 9-point favorite. We have the Golden State Warriors 9-point favorites over the Dallas Mavericks. Total 229.5. Taking a look at the line history in this one here. Line opened up at a 9.5, down to a 9. So we do a move towards Dallas in this game. Line opened up 235. It's down to a 230.5. So a move towards the under here as well. Taking a look at the cash flow, we have 55% of the tickets are on the Dallas Mavericks, 52% of the cash on the Golden State Warriors. So not a huge, it's kind of split 50-50, very, very close. Nothing to be considered anything public. And then 90% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the over. That is public there. Dallas coming in playing good as of late. They've won 3 in a row and 5 of the last 6. So no Luka, no problem right now. They've looked pretty good. On the flip side, Golden State, they've won 2 straight and 4 of their last 5. Their only loss was on February the 12th. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks. So the Warriors just played this Mavericks team, and they lost to them. So at the end of the day, yes, can Golden State get the revenge for that loss just 11 days ago? Yeah. Does that mean they're going to cover 9.5? No. So it's going to end up being a stay off spot for me. The market's kind of like Dallas in this game. I guess it's dog or pass if I'm getting involved, but no action here for me here. Seahawks, Mavs +9. That'd be the only way I would look. The only way I would look. We'll continue on, though. We have the Indiana Pacers, 3.5-point favorites, total of 230 in this game against the Los Angeles Clippers. This line opened up at a 3. It's now a 3.5, so we do have a move towards Indiana. Line opened up 231.5. It's now a 230, so we'll move towards the under here as well. We have 50% of the tickets, 60% of the cash is on the Pacers. The line's moving towards them, so a little bit of sharp money coming in on them there. 91% of tickets, 92% of the cash is on Indiana as well, or on the over, my bet, as well. The Pacers playing good as of late. They've won back-to-back games. Granted, the first one was right before the All-Star break. It was Washington. They were 10-point favorites. They didn't cover in that game. And then they won, and they won against the Memphis Grizzlies 127-113. On the flip side, we have the LA Clippers. They're coming in off of a loss against the Milwaukee Bucks 116-110. I would only look Pacers in this game, though. And I get it. They're off of a couple wins. I think this Pacers team could start playing a little bit better. And this Clippers team, I really don't trust. They've been a team that I've seen them have pretty decent first half leads and then end up losing and not covering as dogs. So, this is a Clippers team where I just don't trust them at all. Looks like sharper money coming on the money line, but when you're seeing a minus 160 favorite, I generally don't see sharp money coming in on favorites of that magnitude. That's why I look more at the spread for that. Another tricky spot. I mean, I want Indiana in this game. Do I really want to lay 3.5 with them? Not particularly. This line has dropped, so it's not like maybe a team total over for Indiana could be worth a look or something along those lines. For me, it's a lean Indiana, but no action so far in this game. Maybe next one there. Tim's on Twitch. Knicks +9. My only play today. All right, Tim's on Twitch for whatever reason. All right, cool. Tim's only on the New York Knicks. So I was looking New York Knicks first quarter. That was the way I was looking at that game. And I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on it after the show when I'm able to sit down and shop around and find the best available line, because I'm not just gonna sit here, scroll through my eight sports books or whatever it is and find the best available line. So Phoenix Suns, Toronto Raptors, your next matchup here. The Suns won 1.5-point favorites in this game, total 227. Line opened up, Suns -2, got all the way to Suns +2, and now it's Suns -1.5. I kind of want to take a look at what the money line has done real quick, though. Line opened up at a 232 down to a 227. Let me switch this over to money lines to see if this was a true flip or if this was – the money line opened up, Toronto -125. It's now Phoenix -123. That's kind of appealing there. I want to take a look at what the market has done in this game here, too. See if the line move makes sense. 77% of tickets, 78% of cash is on the Suns. Yeah, 72% of tickets, 88% of cash on the money line for the Suns. The line's moving towards them. It feels too easy, though, the Phoenix Suns. And I get the Suns are on a little bit of a crash a little bit as of late. Now, they are off of a win in their last game, but they played the Chicago Bulls, whoop-de-doo. And they didn't even cover against them. Toronto coming in off of a loss against the Miami Heat. I did have a piece of Miami in that game first quarter. So that was kind of what I was expecting there. They have lost 2 in a row, 6 of their last 7. So this is a struggling Toronto team who is though 12-18 at home compared to 5-21 on the road. A number this low. I mean, I kind of want to move Raptors in this game because the spread did open up -2 for Phoenix, and they do seem a little public in this spot to a point where maybe it is worth a look getting the number that we can with the Toronto Raptors in this game. And I think that's where I want to start my card. Now, is this Toronto maybe early? I want to take a look at what the first quarter line movement is here in this one because I'm seeing Pick'em. And it hasn't moved. I think I'm just going to go Toronto Raptors first quarter money line, just straight up. And ask them to show up for the first 12 minutes, and that's really it. Because my initial thought was, let me take a shot with Phoenix. Not really anymore. I mean, Phoenix is a team I really don't trust. They're coming off a win, so they might be feeling a little bit better, snapping a 4-game losing streak. Over on DraftKings, and Bovada has it too, minus 105 for the first quarter money line here in this one for Toronto. That's how I'm going to start my card here today. Toronto first quarter minus 105 is how I'm going to start my day in the NBA. Where is it? There we go. And then do that. All right. I can listen to Twitch with my phone off. Oh, nice. There you go. Suns suck. Lost on the hook yesterday. Beat me last 2 times. Yeah, the Suns are definitely not a trustworthy team for me. And I've actually done pretty well fading them this year. That is something that I do keep in mind is the Suns have been a nice fade because people do believe the Suns team should be better. And they're just not. So yeah. Raptors first quarter for me is where I'm going for this one. I like that spot. There you go. What's good, IceX? All right, get to work with the ESB. What's good, occupancy? What's good? Yeah, it's occupancy. Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. And then, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 NBA games to get through, then we can get to the good stuff with the National Hockey League. We've already moved on 3 spots to that, and I really like my double up spot in that Rangers and Penguins game. I actually look forward to breaking it down. But we have the Detroit Pistons minus 3, total of 238 in this game. Let's take a look at the line history in this game here, where we have Detroit opening up at a 2. It's now a 3. So we do a move towards the Pistonians in this one here. Line open up 239.5. It's now a 239. So we do have a move towards the under here as well. Taking a look at the line history or the cash flow in this game here, 66% of the tickets, 69% of cash on the Pistons. The line is moving towards Detroit. 78% of the tickets, 81% of the cash is on the over here as well. Let's take a look at the what these two teams have done as of late. And the Pistons have been playing some awesome basketball. I really do hope this Pistons team makes it to the playoffs and wins a round. Like I want to see some postseason basketball in Detroit. They've now won 5 in a row. Granted, they've played Philly, Charlotte, Chicago, San Antonio. So they've taken care of business against bad teams, but they're taking care of business nevertheless. On the flip side, we have Atlanta coming in off of a loss against Orlando, 114-108 on the 20th. So they've had a few days off. The Pistons, they're coming in off of that win on the 21st, so they've had a day off as well. It's Pistons or no bet. If I'm looking at it here, the line moving towards them. The money is coming in on them, but it's not like overly public. It's 66%, so a little bit enough to get me a little uncomfortable with the Detroit Pistons side without seeing. I mean, it's moved a point, so I guess it's done something. And for the total, it's moved down, even though the public's on the over. Kind of makes me think a little bit of under action here in this game. If I were to be betting the total in this game, would be under. But not a game I'm going to get involved with. It's just a pass for me at the moment. It'd be Detroit or no bet. There we go. Everybody saying hi in the chat there. All right, let's keep it going. The Orlando Magic are 12.5-point favorites, total 216. My first thought is, damn, that's a lot of points. But then I looked over and it's the Washington Wizards, so I guess that makes sense. We have this line opened up at a 12. It's now a 13. And this line opened up 221.5. It's all the way down to a 216.5. So a big move towards the under. And we're starting to see some 215.5s as well. Orlando coming in off of a loss, but a cover as 2-point dogs against the Memphis Grizzlies. They lost by 1. On the flip side, the Washington Wizards, they're in a little bit of a weird situation. Not weird. They've lost 5 games in a row, but they've covered in 4 of them. It just shows you how big of dogs they've been. They were 5-point dogs against Milwaukee. They lose by 3. They were 10-point dogs against Indiana. They lose by 4. They were 11-point dogs against San Antonio. They lose by 10. They lost by 14 as 7-point dogs. That was one game they didn't cover against Atlanta. They were 17.5-point dogs against Cleveland. They lose by 10. So this is and previous to that, I mean, they've covered in 7 of their last 8 games, the Washington Wizards. Line is moving against them, though, in this spot. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this game, see if that makes sense that the line's moving against them. It doesn't. 62% of tickets, 55% of the cash is on the Wizards. And the line's moving towards the Magic with 38% of tickets, 45% of the cash on them. The Magic they've covered in 3 in a row. The last time they were this big of favorites, they won by 16 against Charlotte as 13-point favorites. So this is an Orlando Magic team where it feels like the wheels have fallen completely off the Magic right now, and yet they're only 7th in the East. That's how bad the Eastern Conference is. Where they currently are, and they're 3 games behind Detroit for the 6th seed for a playoff spot. So they're most likely going to be going up against it looks like they're going up against, if the season were to end today, they'd be playing Miami for the 7th seed in the play-in tournament. And if they lose that game, they would play the winner of Atlanta Chicago for that. But Brooklyn only a half game behind Chicago. Philadelphia only a game and a half behind Chicago. So that battle for the 10 seed is there. And I think Orlando probably takes care of business in this game. And the market's kind of telling you that can happen as well. I know this is a lot of points to lay with the Magic, but they've kind of been struggling as of late, 4-6 in their last 10 games, even though they have won 3 of their last 5. I think this is a potential smash and grab with the Orlando Magic, where the public is on the Washington Wizards a little bit here. The sharp money is on the Orlando Magic, and I think this is a smash and grab for them to jump out early and often. And I kind of want to double. I feel like this is a similar spot to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I need to take a look at what that Thunder situation is for later. But I have a feeling that could be a game that makes my card as well. For a little bit of a smash and grab. I kind of want to double up here, first half and full game. And I'm seeing -12.5, -115 over on Fanatics, -7.5, -110 first half over on Bet365. I'm doubling down on Orlando in this game. In this spot, I really like this opportunity for a smash and grab. You get a Magic team that's kind of been struggling, but they get a team that they can beat up on. And a lot of people have been making money on the Wizards a little bit as of late, to a point where maybe this line's a little bit short, which I know that sounds kind of weird with a Magic team that's under 500 as 13-point favorites. And I usually don't like laying this many points, but in the NBA, I don't really have too much of a problem with it because I know it kind of stands for the National Blowout Association. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So I'm going to double up here on the Orlando Magic here. I got first half -7.5, full game -12.5 here over with the Orlando Magic as I'm putting that up on Cap Protect now. So doubling up on Orlando here in this one. But we'll move on. The Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks 5.5-point favorites in this game. Total of 221.5. Let's take a look at the line history in this game, where we have this line opening up at a 5.5, got all the way down to a 4.5, back up to a 5.5. Line opened up 224. It is now a 221.5. So I'll move towards the under here. No move on the side, as it is the same as the opening number was. Taking a look at the cash flow in this game here, 77% of tickets, 81% of cash is on the Bucks. In this game, the line's not really moving there, which kind of tells me the Miami Heat could be a little bit live in this game. 81% of tickets, 83% of the cash is on the over in this one as well. I feel like the what do you call it? The Bucks are not a reliable favorite. I want to take a look here real quick at what the Bucks ATS is. It would be ATS is as a favorite this year because I don't think it's very good. And it would be Miami or no bet for me here. That's, first of all, it is Miami or no bet. Kind kind of want to take, I'm just going to take a look at as a favorite this year because Milwaukee is a sub 500 team ATS this year. I just want to know if it's more of they don't cover. I believe it's they don't cover as favorites at all. They are 17, 22, and 1. So they're about they're not good obviously, but they're not like an auto fade. It's a favorite then. So for me, it's just a lean towards the Heat in this game, but ultimately, I don't think this is a game I'm getting involved with. I think the Bucks have been playing better basketball as of late. They're 4-1 in their last 5. They have covered in 3 of them. The only game they didn't cover, they're 5-point favorites against Washington. Miami kind of struggling. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They did win against Toronto, which snapped a 4-game losing streak. But even then, they've not been playing that well. So not a team I'm going to trust here in this spot. Slightly towards Miami. Miami or no bet, but no bet. We'll keep it going. San Antonio Spurs and the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans 1.5-point favorites in this game. Total 240.5 in this spot here. Taking a look at the line history in this game here. It opened up 1.5, got down to a pick 'em. Now we're seeing oh, my bad. It opened up -1.5 for San Antonio. Now we're seeing -2 for New Orleans. Line opened up 240. It's a 240.5. So we even moved towards the over here as well. 50% of tickets, 59% of cash on the Pelicans. The line's gone from dog to favorite. 48% of tickets, 53% of cash is on the Pelicans as well. They've gone from dog to favorite. 53% of the tickets are on the under, and yet 53% of cash on the over. Damn, they're gonna make me. This is Pelicans in the over, and I think this is a situation where I was saying this. I don't. Did I end up betting that the last game? I did not bet Detroit the last game. I don't think I did against the Spurs. But I said the way to fade the Spurs going forward without Wembanyama is team total overs against them. And we have a New Orleans Pelicans team. They're coming in off of a loss. They put up 103 points. They're really struggling, 1-9 in their last 10 games. So do I want to trust them as a favorite? Kind of, actually. I think that kind of tells you a little bit of something here of how much they downgrade this team without Wembanyama. And I think I want to double down on I want to double down on them here with the money line and a team total over. New Orleans -120 over on FanDuel for the money line. And I think I'm going right back to FanDuel for that team total over, aren't I? Yep, -108 for their team total, 121.5 on FanDuel as well. I'm gonna double down on the New Orleans Pelicans in this game, taking a shot with them to take care of business, going from dog to favorite. Sharp money a little bit on the over as well, which definitely piques my interest in that team total. Then that's why I moved on it. So another double up spot, and I think I might have one more double up spot today in the NBA a little bit later. I believe on the last game. And apparently that's the only way I'm betting the NBA today is doubling up on games. For me, I'm on the Pelicans money line -120 and the team total over 121.5 -108. As we'll continue on, Memphis Grizzlies and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have the Cavs 6-point favorites, total of 249.5. A pretty decent total in this one here. Line opened up 5.5. It's now a 6.5 for the Cavaliers. So we do have a move towards Cleveland in this game. Line opened up at a 245.5. It's skyrocketed all the way to 249.5. I don't like when totals move that much. I think that it's very tough to win consistently if you're getting that type of ascent of the line. 86% of tickets, 93% of cash is on the over, or is on the Cavaliers. The line is moving towards the Cavs for those who do want to back them, though. 59% of tickets, 61% of cash on the under in this game. The line is going up. I can only assume that is at the 249.5 number and the 250 number rather than the 245.5. Cleveland coming in, winning 6 in a row. They've covered in 4 in a row. Memphis, they've now lost 2 of the last 3. They haven't covered in any of them. So all of a sudden, Memphis kind of struggling a little bit as of late. They're back in second for the Western Conference with the loss by Denver last night. But for me, and they won their last game against Orlando. For me, it's a no play in this game. I guess it'd be over or nothing, but I think you've missed your line if you want to back the over in this game. So stay off spot for me in this one. We'll head to the final game on the NBA card before we head into the NHL. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder 9.5 point favorites on some books. We're starting to see some 9.5s pop up. Line opened up at an 8. It's up to a 9. So we've seen a move towards OKC. Line opened up to 27.5. It's now 229. A move towards the over in this game as well. 77% of tickets, 77% of cash on the over. Makes sense that the line is moving towards the over. 63% of tickets, 61% of cash on the Thunder. The line is moving towards the Thunder, which makes sense. These two teams played 10 days ago. It's the only game that the Oklahoma City Thunder have lost in the last 10, as they lost 116 to 101. So it was a 15-point loss as a 9.5-point road favorite for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now we get them back in the same situation that they were last year. For me, my immediate thought is I want the Oklahoma City Thunder in this game, because they're a team that I don't think is going to take their foot off the pedal at all during the regular season. They're going to keep going, and they're going to keep blowing teams out, because I feel like every other game that they've had during this 9-game stretch where they're 8-1, they've won by double digits in every game. They beat the Jazz by 23. They did lose by 15 against this very Timberwolves team. Other than that, though, a 14-point win against the Heat, a 36-point win against the Pelicans, a 13-point win against the Grizzlies, a 12-point win against the Raptors, a 31-point win against the Suns, a 29-point win against the Milwaukee Bucks, a 34-point win against the Sacramento Kings. So this has been a team that's just kicking ass and taking names. This Oklahoma City Thunder team, and they are 100% a team I want to back in a situation like this, where they got beat in their last matchup against this team. I think they bounce back in this spot right here. First half, -5 over on Bet365. Full game is going to be a -9 over on Fanatics. So doubling up on the Oklahoma City Thunder to finish out my card here in the for the NBA. I really like the spots here in this one. So doubling up on the Thunder to close out my card, first half and full game, to revenge their loss, a 15-point loss against this very Timberwolves team just 10 days ago. Card later should be and a college basketball pick. I think I mentioned earlier our two plays for today are going to be Manhattan and Siena. One solo home run. I don't think it's going to be like that, because he's going to have Lindor in front of him. So he is going to have plenty of opportunities with runners and runners on base. So yeah, we can make jokes now that he hit a home. How about this? He hit a home run in his first home run in his first at bat as a New York Met. How about that? I get it. It's a minor league game, or not a minor league game. I get it. It's a spring training game, but still, I think he's going to really, really enjoy New York. And I think we're kind of starting to see it already. So love seeing that, though. Capture 18-10 as dogs this year for a total profit of 13.83 units. Ranks first in the NHL, but as home dogs, they're 6-4. Still pretty good. Tom Wilson day to day. All right. We will make the transition. Oh, I never switched the background. Oops. That was for NBA. Now I'll make the transition to the NHL. Are getting better. I believe at one point we were down close to 30 units. So we've made a little bit of a comeback here in the NHL. My goal is for that to be back in the black by the end of the season, and I will display this record every single show I'm on. But let's get into it here. We were just mentioned that Tom Wilson is day-to-day. -130 for the Edmonton Oilers with a total of 6.5. Let's take a look at what these teams have done as of late. because I don't have my spreadsheet because I'm going to continue going off of the situational spots and stuff along those lines. It worked really well for me yesterday, and we'll see how this goes forward. If I start to struggle again, I'll go back to the spreadsheet. But obviously, the spreadsheet didn't do me much good this year so far. We have the Washington Capitals are coming in 37, 11, and 8. They are first place in the Metropolitan. They're 17, 4, and 6 at Cap 1 this year in Washington, D.C. On the flip side, we have the Edmonton Oilers. They're coming in 34, 18, and 4. They are 16, 8, and 2 on the road this year away from Edmonton. This feels like an Edmonton spot to me. You have the Washington Capitals coming in off of a very, very satisfying win, 8-3 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, they like to hype up that rivalry with Ovechkin and Crosby. And we have the Oilers coming in off of a bad loss. This is exactly where I want the Oilers, coming in off of a loss. And I did back the Capitals yesterday on the -1 line, and I said it was Flyers or no bet for me. If I was looking at that game between Edmonton and Philadelphia, so that's something that I kind of did keep in mind that I wanted. If those results did happen, I kind of thought maybe Edmonton was the play in this game. And I know a lot of people are just gonna keep going towards the Capitals because they just keep winning. I don't think there's a good spot for the Capitals. You're on the second half of a back-to-back. I'm assuming they went with Logan Thompson yesterday. They did. So it'll be probably Charlie Lindgren in net today. And for the Oilers, they had I think Skinner in net yesterday. So it'll be Pickard today. I don't think there's that much of a difference between Skinner and Pickard, to be completely honest. Last time these two teams played was on January the 21st, so a little over a month ago, and it was a 3-2 win for the Washington Capitals, a game where the Edmonton Oilers dominated that game. It was a 32-14 shots on goal advantage for the Oilers. I believe it was a massive expected goals number advantage for them as well. And I think this is a game where they get a little bit of revenge for that as well. And I thought if you want to fade the Oilers out of the Four Nations break, the time to do it was against Philadelphia. I don't think it's against. I don't think fading them here would be a good spot. I'm going to grab them here, -125 here with the Edmonton Oilers over on Fanatics. I think this is a good spot for Edmonton to come in here, get a win against the Capitals, their backup goaltender, and off of just a very satisfying win. Yes, I know my record fading the Capitals has been horrendous this year, but I'm going to still find spots to bet against them. I am. And I did back them yesterday, so you can't say I'm always fading them. I did back them yesterday, but I'm going to go and fade them today. Oilers -125 for me in this game. Appreciate it. It was a much, much needed good day, and hopefully today continues there. Got to go to work. Do you like Iona today? Iona is against Merrimack. I have that game projected out of Pick'em. If anything, I have Merrimack as a half, or Iona as a half-point favorite in that game. So I don't really see any value on that game at all. A Pierre-Luc Dubois point. There you go. Leon Draisaitl has 2 points in each of his last 4 games. So there you go for player prop bettors. Look towards Leon Draisaitl over 1.5 points. Probably worth a look. Jacob Chikrin point, +152. Not a bad look there. He's a huge piece of this Capitals offense. Yeah, he's been pretty strong this year. Protas point +106. Eileen Cap's money line because Charlie Lindgren might be a little bit better than what? Than Logan Thompson? Absolutely not. Unless I'm mistaking you here. But again, compared to Logan Thompson, no, he's not. That's just that might just be me though. Then Ovechkin 14 goals in 25 games versus the Oilers. Yeah. And if he didn't miss time during the year, he could have had his eyes set on breaking the record against Wayne Gretzky's team, which would have been just very, very cool to see. But we'll move on. This is my favorite game on the card right now. From a betting perspective, I've already doubled up on this game. Let's get into it here. We have the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins in this game. Minus 140 for the Rangers. Total of 6 in this game. These teams coming off of losses in their last game there. So something to keep in mind. Not only are these teams coming off of losses, how about they both are coming in off of losses of giving up 8 goals. 8 goals. And Igor had to be pulled in that game after those 5 goals, if I'm not mistaken. Which is very tough to do, pull your starting goaltender when you have a back-to-back the next game. But when you give up 5 goals, they the last 2 periods. You gotta think Igor starts today. I want Igor to start today for this bet. And then on the flip side, you have Pittsburgh, who lost 8-3 to the Washington Capitals yesterday. I believe it was 2-2 heading into the third period, and Washington just exploded on them in the third period there. So you have 2 teams coming in off of absolute defensive disaster classes, basically. And they did pull Nedeljkovic after the 5th goal that he gave up. And then Blomqvist came in and gave up 3 goals as well. So both their goalies played yesterday. I don't know who's going to start in net for them. It could be Nedeljkovic again. It could be Blomqvist. But at the end of the day, I kind of want to see the 2 goalies that got shelled yesterday. I want to see Nedeljkovic versus Igor in this game. I do. Because I think the one thing these 2 teams are going to focus on is we're not giving up 8 goals again. We're not. And I think both these teams come out here with more of a defensive-minded game plan. And I think that is where we're going to get unders in this game. And I don't bet many unders, or I haven't bet many unders here in the NHL. I am going to start betting a lot more of them because we're getting to the time of year where if you see 2 teams tied 2-2 at the end of the second period, there's a good chance you'll see that tied 2-2 in the third period as well. Teams left. And teams are going to be fighting for every last point that they can get. There's going to be a lot more overtimes. There's going to be a lot more close competitive games, and especially, 2 divisional teams. I could see this game being 2-2 at the end of the second period, and the game finishes 3-2 in overtime in this one here. Do I want to pick a side in this game? No. And I'm not picking a side in this game. However, I am picking a total in this game here, and I doubled up on this total in this spot. I am on the first period under at 1.5 at even money. I'm on the full game under 6, minus 105 as well. And I am really hoping it's Igor versus Nedeljkovic for both these goaltenders to get a little bit of an opportunity to bounce back after yesterday. So for me, I'm on the first period under 1.5. I'm on the full game under 6 in this one. Better than Calvin Pickard? Yes. Rangers here? Yeah. Crosby assist. Strong game for Igor. Malkin point plus 102. He's so back. Yes, under season is approaching in the NHL, especially with all the overs we saw yesterday. I believe first period overs just dominated yesterday, and I think you're going to see a lot of love for overs going forward, and I think we're going to get some unders. And yeah, Kevin Hayes' goal, 3-1. See that as well. We'll keep on going here. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Seattle Kraken. We have the Lightning minus 250 favorites with a total of 6 in this game. I believe this is the Lightning's first game back after the break. They did not play yesterday, if I remember right. Did they? Nope, they did not play yesterday. They're coming in on a 4-game winning streak. They finished off their first half, or not their first half, but before the break, with a win, 2 wins against Ottawa, a 6-3 win against Detroit, a 5-3 win against the Montreal Canadiens. They did send a decent amount of players to the Four Nations face-off, and a lot of them represented Team Canada. On the flip side, we have the Seattle Kraken. They're coming in. They played in Florida yesterday. They got a 2-1 win. Now, the question is, do you like to favor the team that played yesterday versus a team that hadn't played in 2 weeks? Or do you want the team that's nice and rested? And that's a question we're going to have to ask ourselves in a few games as well when the Dallas Stars play the New York Islanders as well. But Jake Gensel was part of Team USA. Braden Point was for Team Canada. So was Earle. So was Hagel. And then defensively, Hedman was the captain of Sweden. And obviously no goaltenders went for them because Vasilevsky is Russian, and Russia did not have a team. So some nice rest for Vasilevsky, who is going to get a lot of playing time in crunch time here, because they don't really have a backup goaltender that you can trust. On the flip side, the Kraken, they're coming in off of a win. Do I really want now? Would I be a little bit more interested in the Kraken if they're coming in off of a loss yesterday? Probably. Do I want to lay minus 250 here with a Lightning team where, yeah, they are, I believe they're third in the Atlantic, and I believe they're pretty comfortably in a playoff spot, if I remember right, because this team's starting to play some really good hockey. They're 31-20-4 this year, and I want to take a look where they are in the playoff picture. They are currently in the third spot for the Atlantic Division. They have a 4-point lead over both Detroit and Ottawa, with a game in hand on Detroit and 2 games in hand on Ottawa. So they're very comfortably in a spot because they beat Detroit before the break. They beat Ottawa twice before the break. They got the wins that they needed to be able to sit back and kind of relax now. Or not relax, but yeah. And on the flip side, the Kraken are kind of out of it a little bit. They have 54 points in 58 games played. They're currently 9 points out behind Vancouver for the last wild card spot. And they would not only need to pass Vancouver, they would need to pass Calgary, Utah, Anaheim, and St. Louis as well, which is probably not going to happen. You would think that the Lightning will probably come out here and probably get the job done. Do I really want to lay a puck line with a minus 250 favorite? The answer is no. So it's a stay off spot for me. Maybe an under in this game. And I was going to say maybe a draw, but Seattle's not really a team that I think is going to be one of those feisty teams that fight for draws. So no play here for me. But a lean towards maybe an under in this game. I think that could be an interesting look. Kucherov day today. Whoa. That's interesting there. Lingering confirmed for the Caps. That makes sense. Thompson went yesterday. I like that even better. Gensel goal plus 140. Braden Point plus 120. Kraken, or Tampa minus 1.5. Kraken can't score. So maybe that's an under. Maybe we expect Vasilevsky with the time off to look good and shut down this Kraken team that does struggle offensively. And are we seeing 6.5? 6.5 minus 125 for this game? My main worry for that is that the Lightning put up 5 by themselves. That's my main concern with the under in this game here. And it kind of, and these numbers kind of prove that to me, because the team total for the Lightning is 3.5, like minus 135 juice towards the over. On the flip side, the Kraken are minus 130 for the under at 2.5. So yeah, I guess the Kraken team total under would be probably the way to look if you want to back Tampa Bay. I think that would be the best way to do it, would be a Kraken team total under. So just a lean towards that for me at the moment, but no play. I did move on. I have moved on this game here. I'm on the Colorado Avalanche on the minus 1 line at plus 115. Let's get into it. We have Colorado coming in off of a loss yesterday. We were on Nashville, so that was a nice little winner there for me. In that game, Nashville wins 2-1 over over this Colorado Avalanche team. Now, this is the last game of a road trip for Colorado, but there was 2 weeks in between. So really, it's just a 2-game road trip, Nashville, St. Louis, and then they head back home their next game to play the Devils, then the Wild, and the Penguins. On the flip side, we have the St. Louis Blues coming in off of a loss and a shootout last night against Winnipeg. This is the second to last game on their homestand. They play Winnipeg. They played Winnipeg last night at home. They play Colorado today, and then they get Seattle on the 25th. They get a day off, and then they get Seattle for a third game in 4 nights. All right, out of the break. Last night it was Joel Hofer in net for St. Louis, so I'm anticipating big game Vinny will be in net for the Avalanche tonight. And I wanted to fade the teams that had a lot of players on the Four Nations face-off the first game out. Why we faded Colorado yesterday, why we faded Florida yesterday, things along those lines. And I kind of want to back them today. I want to back them in their second game because then you finally knocked off the letdown spot, things along those lines. And I think Colorado shows up here. And as much as I'm a Binnington fan, I like Binnington. He's one of my favorite goalies in hockey. I like his personality and things along those lines. Though he's an entertaining goalie to watch. But after that performance for Team Canada in the Four Nations face-off, I want to fade him in his first time out. And I believe this is the day to do it because it was Holfrey last night, so it's going to be Binnington today. So I'm on the Avalanche on the -1 line at +115. I think they take care of business against the St. Louis Blues here. This is an Avalanche team that's currently 4th in the Central, so they don't really have that much breathing room here as they are a wild card team, I believe, at the moment. They are, I believe, the wild card, if I remember right. Yes, and they currently trail the Wild by 4 points, and the Wild have a game in hand on the Avalanche. Granted, the next game that the Avalanche do play is at home. They play the Devils, and then they play the Wild. So could be an interesting spot there for them. But they are kind of comfortably in a playoff spot, though. They are the top wild card. However, they got Calgary by 8 points. Calgary does have 3 games in hand, though, so that is something to keep an eye out for. But they are kind of comfortably above their competition that they need to be at the moment. We'll be talking about clinching situations probably in a month or so for some of these teams. But for me in this game, I'm on Colorado. I took the -1 line for a score here at +115. So Colorado -1 +115 here for me for that. Did I already? I have not posted that up on Cap Protect yet, so I need to do that. So yeah. Lehkonen goal. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see Lehkonen. I believe he's on the top line with McKinnon, right? If I remember right. Or did they bump him down? Yep, he's on the top line with Nichus and McKinnon. Middlestat on the second line with Parsonen and Drouin. So yeah. But we will move on. We have 6 games remaining on the card. The Detroit Red Wings and the Anaheim Ducks. We have the Red Wings -190 favorites, total of 6 in this game. The Ducks coming in off of a win yesterday. We back to those Anaheim Ducks. They won in overtime. The Red Wings lost in overtime. So both these teams coming in off of overtime. Gibson got hurt yesterday in that game against Anaheim, if I remember right. And then who do you call it had to come in? Gibson got hurt, and then Dostal came in for the second period in overtime, and he stopped 9 out of 10 shots. He'll be in between the pipes today for Anaheim. For Detroit, just a heartbreaking loss for them yesterday. They were up 3-1 in the third period, blew the lead to Minnesota, and then lost in overtime. I don't want to fade the Ducks right now. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 7 of their last 8. They've looked really good. And now they're a game above NHL 500. So, I mean, look, now I don't think the Ducks are completely dead. And I think this team is too young and dumb to realize that yet. I mean, I would only look towards taking a shot here at the Ducks. That'd be the only way I'd look. Do I want to back a team on a 4-game winning streak? And they do have one more road game on this trip. But yeah, this is Ducks or nothing. That would be the only way I would approach this game would be Anaheim or no bet. So that's just a lean for me though at the moment. Pavel Buchnevich, 4 goals, 6 assists in 10 games versus the Avs. Some good numbers there. Nice. Ducks money line. Yeah, that's the only way I can look is the Ducks. The only way. But we'll continue on. 5 games remaining on the NHL card. An interesting one here. The Nashville Predators taking on the New Jersey Devils. We have this game around pick'em -115, -120 for the Devils. Total of 6 in this game. Kind of think the Devils are probably worth a look in this spot. They're coming in off of that 4-2 loss against the Dallas Stars in their first game after the break. On the flip side, Nashville coming in on a 2-1 win against the Colorado Avalanche. So they're coming in feeling good. They got dominated in that game, though. I felt lucky to come away with a win there in that Nashville game because I want to take a look what the expected goal numbers were in that one there because I got to believe that Colorado kind of held the play and looked awesome in that one there. Probably advanced metrics, and they probably should have won when you look at that. So I kind of want to take a look what that is real quick. See if that is factual there. And on the flip side, New Jersey, they outshot Dallas in that game. They outplayed them, or they got better. They got more chances. And it was just DeSmith looked good. So I have a feeling this could be a nice little bounce back spot here for the New Jersey Devils. They are coming in off of a loss. Nashville coming in off a win. And I don't believe Nashville has been very good coming in off of a win this year. I think they've rarely stringed together 2 wins in a row. Now, granted, they are on a 2-game winning streak. The last time they won 2 games in a row was against San Jose, a back-to-back, which that was actually a 5-game winning streak for them when they beat Vegas, Chicago, Minnesota, and San Jose twice. But this is not a Nashville team that I really trust to put 2 games together. I mean, this team is 7th in the Central. They are they have turned into one of the not the worst team in the NHL, but they've not been very good. This is Devils or no bet. I kind of want to take New Jersey in this game. -120 over at BetMGM. I'm going to pull the trigger on the Devils here in this spot. I think there's a good New Jersey situational game. They're coming in off of a loss that you outplayed your opponent. Nashville coming in off of a win that they got outplayed in. I think those things kind of offset themselves today, and we see a Devils win. If you guys want to go for a little bit of a score in this one there, I wouldn't talk anybody off of Devils -1 or Devils puck line, which you can get Devils puck line is +205. And then over on BetMGM where it's -120 for the money line, it's +200 for the puck lines, +136 for Devils -1. So I'm just taking the -120. I like the spot here for the Devils, but I wouldn't talk anybody off of puck lining, anything like that. Yes, for Bradisis, I know Terry's been riding that. It feels like all season long, and it's been really strong. So yeah, I won't talk anybody off of that. All right, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Doesn't this feel like a game that the Maple Leafs are going to lose? Right off the rip, that was my first thought on this game. We have Chicago coming in off of a 5-1 loss against Columbus last night. They had more shots on goal, 28-21, but don't know how many of those were high danger chances. Toronto coming in off a very satisfying win. They beat Carolina 6-3, and they look good doing it. Granted, they were outshot, but probably a lot of that was because they jumped off to a 3-0 first period lead. Now, I kind of want to take a shot here with Chicago in this game. Chicago coming in off of a bad loss. Now, granted, bounce backs are for good teams, and we all know Chicago is not a good team. But would it shock anybody if this game made it past regulation and we saw a draw in this one? Like we know sometimes the Maple Leafs like to play with their food. Plus 360 on plus 362 on Pinnacle for the draw in this game, which ultimately has me leaning Chicago puck line plus 1.5 minus 115. I don't play puck lines like that often, but I think this is a spot where potentially you see the Blackhawks play a close competitive game. And the Maple Leafs essentially play down to their opponents. The team total over plus 105 for 2.5 over on Bovada. I think there's ways to back Chicago in this game. I just don't know how. And right now it's a lead for Chicago for me. But I think this is a Chicago team that can play competitive against this Maple Leafs team today. It's just whether or not you want to take a shot with them. Plus 215 on them, plus 220 over on Bet365 and ESPN Bet. I think there's definitely value on Chicago. It's just whether or not you want to pull the trigger on them today. But it would not surprise me to see this game go to overtime. It wouldn't. So I lean puck line plus 1.5 with the Blackhawks. I lean a little money line for the Blackhawks. Just don't know if I'm going to get involved with either. But it's Chicago or no bet for me. Over 6. Yeah. Leafs here for me. Leafs always look good going into the playoffs. Then they fade. Yeah, I could see that. Leafs are over. Then probably you're looking more at a Leafs team total over, which would be 3.5 minus 126 over on FanDuel. That's not a terrible line if you like the Leafs. That's a better way to approach it than laying a puck line or a money line, I think. William Nylander, 9 goals, 10 assists in 14 games versus Chicago. Wow. Been pretty good against them. We'll move on, though. We have the Dallas Stars taking on the New York Islanders. We have the Stars minus 125 favorites, total of 5.5 in this game. And looking at potential returns from injury, is there a team that benefit more from the Four Nations face-off break? I mean, Montreal, you could definitely throw Montreal in there as a team that definitely benefited an awful from that break. But how about potentially the Islanders and the return that they're potentially getting here on the blue line? Because I believe I saw Ryan Pulock was activated off the IR, and I believe so was who else was it? Mayfield. Mayfield was also activated off the IL, and potentially coming back in one game. Skating in practice right now is Noah Dobson. So all of a sudden, this New York Islanders team is getting healthy, and they're getting their blue line back. And all of a sudden, a team that was starved for blue liners that they had to go out and sign Scott Pernovich and Tony DeAngelo is getting healthy. And you could potentially see Pernovich being a healthy scratch again. Or you could see Tony DeAngelo. I think Tony DeAngelo stays in the lineup when Noah Dobson comes back. I think they pull Pernovich rather than DeAngelo, because DeAngelo offensively gives them a little bit more upside. And then all of a sudden you have an Islanders team that can turn a couple of these depth defensemen and try to flip them for a forward. And Lou looks like he had a masterclass. So something to keep an eye on. I think the Islanders definitely benefited very much for this Four Nations break. And they were given a good draw here out of the break, getting the Dallas Stars off of a win on the second half of back-to-back. And it's Andr's first game after the Four Nations face-off. Granted, he only played against Sweden. The Islanders came in off of back-to-back losses against Minnesota and Winnipeg to head into the Four Nations break. That team looked gassed towards the end there. And I think this break is going to do them very good. Very similar to the Washington Capitals, who had nobody they sent. The Islanders sent one guy, and he barely played any minutes on the fourth line for the United States, and that's Brock Nelson. So you have a fully rested Islanders team that I think this is going to be the spot where they can come out of the gates flying out of the All-Star break and look good. And I'm going to back him here in this game on this spot. Plus 115. I'm saying actually plus 116 on FanDuel. I'm going to sign me up for some Islanders action here in this one. I think this is very similar to the rested angle for the Washington Capitals, where they had nobody. You had only Brock Nelson, who played fourth line minutes for Team USA. And that was it. And you're getting a healthier Islanders team with Mayfield returning, Pulock potentially returning, Potentially Noah Dobson next game. This is a Islanders team that I think is more bet on than bet against going forward. And maybe I'm going to take a look here. Maybe this is the time we look towards Islander playoff futures. And because we all know this is the way it's going to go. They're going to go on a good run to end the year. They're going to squeak into a wild card spot. They're going to play someone like Carolina, and they're going to lose in 5 games. We all know that's the script every single year for the New York Islanders. So let me see. To make the playoffs, Islanders are plus 300. Yeah, I'll probably move on that as a future today. A little plus 300 on the Islanders to make the playoffs. Because I could see this as a spot, as a situation where the Islanders come out rested, ready to go. They get the Rangers, a big game on the 25th. Then they get Boston, the team they're chasing, on the 27th. They get a game against Nashville. So for me, Islanders plus 116, and I'll probably look on adding a future for the Islanders to make the playoffs at 3-1. So yeah. Let's see. What's good? Stop Geo. What's good? Leaning Avs -1. You're on St. Louis, right? Nope. I took the Avalanche -1 plus 115. Dallas for me here. Dallas also comes on strong this time of year. That's fair. Let's go Islanders. Yep. Islanders have nice pieces, but haven't put the puzzle together. There you go. Wyatt Johnson goal and assist. How about the massive salary cap increase in the NFL? Cheap organizations still going to be cheap. Going to have some more wiggle room. Yeah. I'm assuming you're saying NHL, but yeah. Matt Duchene plus 225 goal and assist plus 150. I won't ever talk anybody off of a draw on the Islanders in an Islander game. Granlund point plus 106. Siplikov assist plus 300. Wow. That's plus 300 for Siplikov? Wow. 5 in his last 5 games. Yeah, definitely won't talk you off of that, especially with my angle of backing Russian player props out of the break, out of the Four Nations break, where they were kind of, I still feel, and I know I'll get shit for it, I still feel Russia was gypped out of a opportunity to be in the Four Nations face-off. I still would have taken them over Finland. Sorry, I say what I say. I think Team Russia would have given a much better run than Team Finland did. 2 games remaining on the card, the Calgary Flames and the San Jose Sharks, 2 teams that did not play yesterday. So 2 teams that are still fully rested out of the break here. Maybe this is one of those first period full game overs because we saw that a lot with 2 teams that didn't play. Calgary went into the break struggling. 3 straight losses against Toronto, Colorado, and Seattle. On the flip side, we have San Jose. They went into the break losing as well 4 in a row, including their last game was an 8-3 loss against the Dallas Stars. I think this was a great opportunity for the San Jose Sharks to forget about hockey for 2 weeks because that's what they should have done because the season's going nowhere for them, and it gives them an opportunity to rest. Don't think about hockey. Maybe think about getting traded if you're one of the top guys. But this is a San Jose Sharks team that has dealt some pieces away, and I think is going to struggle like this for probably the remainder of the season. Probably not to this degree, but yeah, I mean, if you're someone like Tyler Toffoli, maybe look at getting traded this offseason or during this trade deadline. Maybe Jake Wallman does for a top pairing defenseman. William Eklund, maybe. But like all your young guys, Zetterlund, Toffoli, or Zetterlund, Smith, Celebrini, build around them, something along those lines. I mean, I don't want the Sharks, but I ain't going to lay minus 225 on the Calgary Flames. That's just something I'm not going to do here. So this was a pretty simple pass for me. Probably overs. I think overs in Sharks teams are always worth a look because this team gives up so many goals. San Jose Sharks, I believe they're last in the NHL in goals allowed this season. And this is a team that, I mean, I will never talk you off of. If you want to back Calgary, it's a team total over. That would be the only way I would look because just the Sharks defense, offense, they're 31st in the NHL. It says 33rd in goals allowed, 3.7 per game. This is a San Jose Sharks team that routinely gives up 4 goals a game. So it'd be Calgary team total over nothing, but I mean we're looking at a 6.5 total with a minus 200 favorite. So that 3.5 is going to be juiced. Not as bad as I thought. Minus 125 for the team total over 3.5. probably worth a look if you're looking to back Calgary. I would take them team total over before laying any type of number on the money line or the puck line. So leaning towards a Calgary team total over 3.5 for me, but no play. William Nylander, Pavel Buchnevich, Wyatt Jensen goal parlay 24-1. All right. Blackhawks a live dog today. I'd lean towards that. Vitek Vanacek expected for the Sharks. Yikes. Yeah, maybe this is just you puck line or not puck line. And you just team going. That's a later game. I might add that. Flames are minus 225 because of Dustin Wolf. You can see that. Toffoli has 6 goals in 10 games versus the Flames. Suppness. UTSA plus 4.5. I know you ain't coming into this chat and asking me to fade the Pirates, right? That's a 4.5 now. That line's dropped, and at a 4.5, there's value on ECU. We had ECU we have ECU minus 7.66 as their projected number. So if that's a 4.5, there's value on the Pirates today. But I'm not betting the Pirates today. Final game of the card, we have the Utah Hockey Club taking on the Vancouver Canucks in this one here. Utah minus 155, total 5.5. Utah, how about this? They had their first hat trick in franchise history yesterday. And I'm drawing a blank on who did it. I gotta scroll through here, see who it was, because it was a later game. Baron Hayden, first hat trick in Utah Hockey Club history. But they're coming off of a 5-3 loss. So there's that. And then on the flip side, Vancouver coming off a 3-1 loss. And they had to travel from Vegas to Utah after that game last night. There's no way I'm laying this type of number with the Utah Hockey Club. That's just not something I'm going to do. At this number, I can only look Canucks. I understand why the number is the way it is. No Quinn Hughes. Elias Pettersson, I believe, is still questionable. And they are dealing with injuries themselves. So I understand why this line is the way it is. But am I laying minus 155 on Utah? No. So pass for me to end the card. I feel good about my card today. So we'll go from there. But that is the full card for me today. Let me switch it.
Together with Earle Sports Bet.
Head back to the chat. Oh, nope. Did not mean to click that. I meant to click that. All right, cool. But yeah, let's head back to the chat and then we will end the show. Yeah, buffeting ECU basketball. Yeah, no, I know. I was just being funny. At 4.5, no, I wouldn't touch UTSA. The Canucks suck, but they have Besher and Garland. That's it. Yeah, DeBrusque too. And they've been better on the road. Vancouver's lost their mojo. I definitely do think Vancouver misses the playoffs, which we were talking about Islander future there. What about Canucks? Canucks are plus 225 to miss the playoffs. I might add that. Vancouver to miss the playoffs. That might be an ad for me. Dylan Gunther goal 2-1. Yeah. But that is everything for today's show. If you guys have not already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys are notified each and every time we are live here at ESB. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow for another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. Good luck, everyone.